Hello again. Today I'm going to tie a highly visible dry fly. It's for the rivers. I'm going to be using a TMCO 212Y. This hook comes barbed, but I've actually crushed the barb down on the hook as I don't fish any of my river flies with barbs on. The thread I'll be using is the UTC. It's the 70 weight, so the thinner of the two. First thing to do is cast the thread on. Just take away the pigtail, and for the tail of this fly I'm going to use a couple of strands of Fibbit. It's nice and thin, and I only want 2 or 3 strands. Now I'm going to place it on here and just put a couple of catching loops over the top just to catch it in. Of course, once it's catched in, I can then pull it to suit myself. That'll be about right. I'm going to try and just drop the thread behind the hook shank just to raise them up a bit, get them to stand a bit prouder of the hook. Just going to remove my excess now. Now the next thing I'm going to do is tie in the post. Now I've been using Aero Wing for a number of years for my dry flies. What I found though, towards the latter stages of the day at this time of year, it's very difficult to see your fly as the light's failing and you're wearing your Polaroids. So what I've done is, with the Aero Wing, I've taken some pink, peach and white and just blended them together, and I think the contrast of colours helps to make it more visible. So I'm going to tie the wing on. Just make sure you're happy with where it's sitting. It's about 2/8 of an inch back from the eye of the hook. Just get it all straightened out. Now what I want to do is I want to taper the body, because I'm going to use a quill to make a segmented body. So instead of cutting it as neat as I can, I've cut it in a wedge shape, like you can see here. And now I want to capture all that in. I'm going to go back using touch and turns. Making a bit of a pig's ear of this, but it will come good. The old Aero Wing, it can be a bit knotty, and every little place there's a gap it will stick through, but I think I've just about managed to catch all that in now. I'm going to come back up to the top of my fly, and I'm just going to open my vise so I can turn and see that it looks okay. That's looking fine now. I'm going to pinch back the post and just build up a little ramp in behind the post. Like so. Next thing I'm going to do is just give my thread a little bit of wax, and I'm going to wrap it round the post. Excuse my fingers. I'll bring that back down. I'm just going to scrape the remnants of the wax away. Get that wing out of the way, and I'm going to come back to the bottom of the fly. Now you can use any stripped coil. I'm using one today that's been dyed yellow. It's quite a prominent strip and it's been very effective, the yellow. Once I've caught that in, I want to make sure that I get touch and turns all the way up, covering the tag that I've newly tied in. Just keep that post right. Once I've done that, I can bring my body up, and the body will catch in any bits where the aero wings managed to worm its way through. I'm going to fly this size. You're only looking at maybe 3 to 4 turns and you'll be up by your post. Now I've just brought the thread over to lock that into place. And what I'm going to do is come in with a snip and just remove the excess. Sometimes there'll be enough left for another fly, but I think that's done. I could leave it like this, but it wouldn't last very long, so I'm going to use some UV resin, just a very, very small amount. Just to give it a little bit of protection. Try and keep it from running down onto your tail. I think I'm going to need just another little touch on this side. The thing I like about the UV resins is you've got lots of time to work, so you can get your resin just looking the way you want it, and once you're happy you can come in with your torch and just cure it. Now because I've only used a very, very small amount here, it should cure relatively quickly. Just make sure I get all of that. And just run your finger over it, make sure that it's dried properly and it's cured right. The next thing then is we're going to tie our wing in. I've already pre-prepared the feather. You can see I've stripped back a good 2/8 of an inch. And I want to catch that in either side of the post. So there it's the first time, and I just missed it that time. That's it in there. So I've now got that in. Now with the post, I want the concave feathers to face downwards, so that the sort of outside of the feather, if you like, to face downwards. But before I start bringing in my wing, I'm going to just try and hook it into the aero wing so it's all up and out the way, and I'm going to use a little tiny bit of, this is coyote mask, it was just a weird box of dubbing I bought. It's all different things. I dare say squirrel would be just as good. It's just dropped away there, so I'm going to come round the back of it. Just try and keep it out of the way, and then under the fly and over. You don't need much of that at all. Very, very little amount. So now I'm ready to take my wing around. It doesn't want to sit properly for me, so I'm going to do my best just to encourage it to behave. And then just bring it round like so. Now you can of course take your post down once you've tied it on, but I find what happens is the post starts trying to get caught into the tying thread and it becomes a real issue. I've caught in my feather now at the eye of the hook, and I'm just going to remove some of the straggly bits. I'm just going to move everything backwards, my thumb and forefinger. Once I'm sure that I've got enough wraps in there, I should be able to just snip that away. And I'm going to put in a couple of half hitches, excuse my fingers, just securing the fly, like so. Once that's done, you can trim it away, and I'm just going to use a little bit of varnish and put that in at the eye, like so. Now the post needs to be trimmed down, obviously that's far too high, but as I've said before with my parachute flies, I like to have a significant amount of post showing. I don't know if you can see that, but it's highly visible when it's on the water, even in the dusk light. It's very good, and that's the finished article. It's very effective, and I hope you've enjoyed the step by step. Thanks for watching.